Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the night sky this week for November 30th, 2020. I hope you had a great weekend. For those of my stargazing friends in the United States, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving and maybe you did some stargazing. Maybe you got to go outside. I'd love to hear from you. I got the chat room open. I see folks from Ontario, Canada, from Germany, Pennsylvania, Las Vegas, the UK, Nova Scotia. We've got folks from everywhere around the world. That's what it's all about. We share the same night sky. We do. We certainly do. I'm in Montreal, Canada. It's pretty cold. It's just above freezing right now. Dark and gloomy day. Not much stargazing, but I did see the beautiful full moon. Did you guys get to see the frosty full moon on Sunday night rising just after your local darkness, when your local darkness falls and you get that nice dark sky coming in? You could see that silvery orb rising in the east. It's absolutely fantastic. And of course, we had a penumbral lunar eclipse. I don't know if you caught it. If you did, do send me a note here in the chat room. That was something interesting to see. It was a slight shading of the surface of the moon. About 80% of the disk of the moon was encompassed in the shadow around the hour of peak or maximum eclipse. So the moon went through the external outer shadow cone, the penumbral shadow of the Earth. And that was interesting. And I saw a lot of you guys chiming in on my pages. So welcome wherever you're watching from and around the world. You may be watching this on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. Glad to see you here. Make sure you follow and subscribe to my channels and share these videos so we get lots of people looking up at the night sky. And this week is really incredible. We've got so many things. We've got stuff I've got on the lineup here. Things about, of course, the moon continues to make headway across the sky, always popping up with some really neat celestial guideposts. So check that out. We're going to look at that. We're going to look at some big patterns in the sky that are visible, stellar patterns that you can learn the night sky with, and the moon will guide us to that. We've got, of course, the Mars in the news, Venus, some special stuff as well, closer to the Earth, in the Earth's atmosphere, things going on, some really cool stuff. So why don't we just dive in right off the bat? So here we are, November 30th, Monday night. Now, what I've got in here, you'll see this green circle in the center. Now, what I've done here to help all of you guys that are maybe novice sky watchers and have binoculars, an average pair of binoculars, maybe 7x50 pairs is the most common type. And this is the field of view in that binocular. This is what it's showing you, is how much of the sky you'll see when you're looking through that binocular. It gives you an average. Now, we all have different types of binoculars. Some are a little bit more narrow, some are a little bit larger, but generally this is the average size of the chunk of sky, that circle that you see here encompassing, that you would see in your pair of binoculars. So it gives you an idea of what to expect when looking at the skies, just to help you, a little extra guidepost that the night sky guy is giving you to be able to find your way through the night sky. Right? So here we are, we're setting up the sky for just after darkness falls on Monday night this week. And you'll see the moon has just passed its full phase, and it's still in the constellation Taurus the bull, and it's embedded, wedged in between the bull's horns. That's where this beautiful silvery moon, frosty moon, is being located on November 1st evening, and it rises in the northeast soon after darkness falls. And as the night progresses, that moon will go higher into the sky. And what I'd like you to notice is that you'll have the moon wedged in between two bright stars. To the right of the moon will be an orange star. So on one side, you'll have this very bright orange star, while on the other, you'll have a brilliant white colored star. And the one on the right, both of these stars on either side of the moon belong to the constellation Taurus. The moon will act as a great guidepost for you to find a little bit more of the constellation Taurus. It's a great guidepost. So by looking at the moon, you'll see the green circle shows you what you'd see in binoculars, right? With the naked eye, you'll see the moon very well wedged in between these two bright stars. So the naked eye is really the best way to see what I'm explaining to you right now, is these two stars. So on the one side, you'll have Aldebaran, which is the brightest star in the constellation Taurus. It's an orange giant about 66 light years away from the Earth, and it's the lead star in the constellation. Meanwhile, there is another star on the other side called Elnath. And Elnath is the end star to one of the horns of the bull. And it's a beautiful kind of bluish white star that is 135 light years away. That's where Elnath, or I should say Elnath, is located. So Elnath and Aldebaran will be wedging in the beautiful near full moon. So it's actually the waning gibbous moon. That's what we call it, because we just passed the full phase. So that's what's in store for you on Monday, November 30th. So why don't we move over to the next day, which is December 1st. We're kicking off December now. And the December skies, again, the moon acts as a wonderful guidepost for finding some really cool things. And in this time, I'm going to show you what's called an asterism. So let me give you a background on this. So what we're talking about, there's a difference between constellations and what's called asterisms. You may not have heard of asterisms, but I'm sure you know of one. The most famous one is the Big Dipper, right? Those 7 stars that make up the Big Dipper are actually not a complete constellation, but part of one. So the Big Dipper is visible in our skies. And let me zoom around here. If you look towards the north, the Big Dipper is really close to the ground for folks in mid-northern latitudes in the northern hemisphere, very close down to the horizon in the middle of the evening. And these 7 stars, as you can see, belong to this very bright grouping of 7 stars that form this really neat formation that we call the Plough or the Big Dipper. And this is part of the Ursa Major Big Bear constellation, which is much larger. The constellation Ursa Major contains a lot of faint stars, but the 7 brightest is called the Big Dipper. And the Big Dipper is part of the constellation. And we know the Big Dipper as an asterism. That's its official moniker, okay, is the type of grouping of stars. It's something that the human eye can put together in a pattern. And there's a lot of them. You can see all the orange stuff that I have in here are asterisms. And one of the most other famous ones that are going to be really heralding the winter, and we'll be talking a lot more about it, but I want to just give you a little intro to it, and that is the Winter Hexagon. So as the name suggests, this is heralding in the northern hemisphere, at least, the winter season, which of course is the summer season in the southern hemisphere for those of you down under. And the Winter Hexagon, this beautiful hexagon, is made up of bright stars in different constellations. So it's a wonderful way to learn different constellations. So in this case, you have one star up here called Capella. You have another one here, Aldebaran, that we talked about on that was visible on November 30th. The moon was right near it. And then you've got Rigel, part of the Orion constellation. You have Sirius pinning down the southeastern sky. Again, this is in the evening, December 1st. You have the moon right in the center of this beautiful winter hexagon. That's why we're talking about this for December 1st. It's for those of you that are new to the hobby and have never looked at the winter hexagon, this is a great way to get familiar with the skies that will be dominating the evening for the next few months. So this is to whet your appetite, get you guys ready to talk about all those goodies that I'm going to be showing you over the next weeks and months. So the winter hexagon will help you get oriented, this group of stars. So we continue our tour around the winter hexagon. We've got Sirius that belongs to the constellation Canis Major, the large dog. Then you've got Procyon as well. You've got Pollux and Castor in the constellation Gemini, right? And then you're back up here in the constellation Auriga with the bright star Capella. So you're learning a series of different constellations, all pinned down by their brightest stars that form this pattern, this asterism we call the Winter Hexagon. It's a great way to begin learning about night sky. Again, this is December 1st in the evening. Once it gets dark, watch for the moon, and the moon is going to be smack dab in the middle of the Winter Hexagon, and you can kind of point out all these different stars that are around here, around the moon, and you can see binoculars will show you only very little, so there's no use to use telescopes and binoculars to see what I'm talking about now, finding the Winter Hexagon. It's exclusively for the naked eye, for the unaided eye without any optical aid. And this is something that you can even see if you're in city limits, right? So the moon's glare will be bright, so it'll make it a little bit more challenging because of the glare, but you can see all of these stars shine. They're the brightest stars that are coming up for the next few months in the evening sky. So check that out. That's on Tuesday. So now we move on to Wednesday. And if we move on to Wednesday, December 2nd, the moon will have moved a little bit over and is now positioned in the constellation Gemini, the twins. And you can see here very clearly, we're going to zoom up here. Let's see, make sure that you can see that. Here we go. Let's see if we can get that organized. There we go. So look at that. So there we go. We got the binocular view of what the moon would look like, right? But look at that. So there's the Winter Hexagon still. Again, this is Wednesday, December 2nd, and the moon is very close to two bright stars. Those two bright stars that it's close to are what? Castor and Pollux, the twins. And Castor and Pollux look like very different colored stars. So take a look at that. You'll see definitely that Castor has this distinct white color to it, while Pollux has this golden yellow hue to it. So really nice, beautiful. The full moon on Wednesday night will guide you to the Gemini twins. So check that out on Wednesday night. Now, what else there is on Wednesday? Well, there's also, if we switch a little bit over in the skies, to the southwestern sky in the evening on Wednesday, December 2nd. Also, check out the planet Mars. Now, we've talked so much about Mars, right? I mean, in the last couple of months, it's been a big thing to talk about the red planet. It's next door to us, and it's been shining super bright. That's because we had a lineup of the Sun, Earth, and Mars in a perfect alignment, and we call this Mars opposition. So Mars is rising in our skies as the sun sets in our skies at the same time. And this sets up for skywatchers, opposition does, where Mars appears its biggest and brightest. So to the naked eye, it looks like a super bright orange star, right? A super bright orange star. And through the telescope, you get to see it big enough so there are features visible on its surface. So when, we're in early December, and this is kind of your last chance to see features on Mars. By the end of the month, the disk of Mars will have shrunk too much to have seen anything. So these are for you guys that have small backyard telescopes, something for you guys to see. Check out one last time Mars. Wednesday night, very cool. Mars will be high in the southwestern sky. And if we zoom in on it with a telescope, okay, and we zoom in on it with a telescope, you'll see features, dark features, light features on the surface. Now, what's very cool is that around 10 p.m. Eastern time, that is, I would say that's 3 o'clock Universal Time, December 30th, you'll have this very cool feature of the Thurs volcanoes, 3 volcanoes that'll be right in the middle of, kind of cutting across the midline of Mars around that time. So those of you that have a higher power telescope, high magnification, you switch out your eyepieces to high magnification. This is something that you can see. The south pole of Mars will also be visible very clearly. And you see this over here? This is Olympus Mons, the largest volcano in the entire solar system, about the size of the state of Texas. And we think it's dormant or extinct, but it's a huge volcano, and it's visible with backyard telescopes under very high magnification, good clear skies. this is something to shoot for. It's a difficult challenge, observing challenge, but it's out there for those of you that have worked with telescopes a little bit. This is something to shoot for. Really cool thing to see features. And so Mars is right now is still kind of your last chance in early December, first and second week of December, to see features. And quickly it will be fading in our sky. So thank you, Mars, for all the wonderful things. And of course, stay tuned because NASA, of course, has its rover on its way. We'll reach Mars in a few months in February next year, and we'll be getting really beautiful close-up views from the Mars rover Perseverance. So stay tuned to some amazing things with that in the new year. So let's move on to Thursday. All right, so we're going to move on to Thursday this week, December 3rd. And what I want you to look at with the moon is going to be, we're going to set this up so that the moon will be out of the sky for as much as possible, because that really does interfere with our viewing. So it's early evening. So before the moon rises on Thursday, try to find the constellation Cassiopeia. I want you to find that constellation. That's an observing challenge I'm putting out for you guys, is to see the constellation Cassiopeia. And what's very cool about Cassiopeia, and I'm going to moving around all over here, but let me just, I'm trying to zoom in on it, and let me take off these asterisms so they're not in the way. And we'll be looking high in the northeastern sky. So you can see the compass direction northeast. This is in the evening, Thursday night, December 3rd. We're looking for the Cassiopeia constellation. Cassiopeia, the Queen, is what we're looking for. And that's located high up in the sky. And what you're looking for is this very distinctive lopsided W formation. So here she is, right here next to where I'm going to put it next to the binocular view. And you can see it's here. I'm going to point them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these 5 stars mark out this lopsided W. They're all visible, these 5 stars. They're bright, visible even in suburban skies. So do check those out. And I can see Emily says Cassiopeia is easily recognizable. Yes, that's right. It is beautiful to see. It's easy. And once you found it, you'll know what you're looking for. So remember, even with binoculars, it's too tight. You can see the field of view in through an average pair of binoculars. It's too tight. You need just the human eye looking up, staring up at the sky to really see this lopsided W in the sky. Now, why am I pointing this out? Because the Milky Way actually runs through this. And I'll show you that if I add in the Milky Way band. Look at that. You see that dark, that faint glow, that ghostly glow right now? That is the Milky Way, the galaxy that we live in. One of the spiral arms are laid out in front of you. So it's the combined light of millions of stars that are that this constellation is superimposed on. Those stars that make up that lopsided W are much closer than these millions of other stars that all you can see is the combined light of those millions of stars. And so it appears like a glow. If you have binoculars, then just scan this area, right? Just scan this area with binoculars. It's absolutely beautiful. It's breathtaking. So Cassiopeia is great with the naked eye and great with telescopes and binoculars, and I'll show you why. Some of my favorite objects, there's 2 beautiful, what we call open star clusters that I'd like you to try to find with pair of binoculars. One of them is called NGC 663. Such an unromantic name, isn't it? I don't know. We should have a better name than NGC 663, but that's its catalog number. And this is kind of wedged in. If you look, it's wedged in between the last 2 bright stars in the this lopsided W, right? You can see I'm outlining it with my cursor. Right, that lopsided W, this is between along that line, just off the center of that line, in a pair of binoculars, this is what you'll see. You'll see those 2 stars, and then you'll see a beautiful clustering. Right there is where it is, And if we zoom in on it, you see that it's a cluster of stars. And what it really looks like, it's just, I'll give you a beautiful idea of through a photograph. Check this out. Isn't that absolutely magnificent? Look at that. It's just a collection of a swarm of young stars that are visible in the sky to you with a pair of binoculars. It's just absolutely beautiful. NGC 663, and this is 7,900 light years away, folks. 7,900 light years away. That's how long, 7,900 years, it takes the light to reach your eye when you're looking at this beautiful star cluster. Again, visible through binoculars and amazing through backyard telescopes. It looks like a jewel, like all kinds of beautiful diamonds just scattered about. And then there's another really cute star cluster. Again, this is we're talking about Thursday night. This is a challenge for you guys for December 3rd, Thursday night, before early evening. So really early, as soon as darkness falls and gets really dark, this is what I want you to look for. Again, with a pair of binoculars, this time off of the other star called Rukbak. And don't worry, I'm going to put a sky chart for this, all of this, in the comment section below. So check that out. If you're on Facebook, you'll see it on my timeline, and I will have star charts available so you can look at this yourself. But my favorite one is the owl cluster. The owl cluster is another beautiful cluster that's visible through binoculars and telescopes. This is what it looks like through photography, but you'll get to see those two bright stars marking the owl's eyes. So the owl in this case is kind of flying downwards, and the body of the owl is made up of all these bright stars here, and then on either side it's flapping its wings. Those other bright stars on either side of that swarm in the center are the wings of the owl. So this is the owl cluster, located about 9,000 light years away. That's where the owl cluster, in the constellation Cassiopeia, visible this week. Challenge is out for you on Thursday, December 3rd. So check that out. You've got two beautiful clusters, NGC 663 and the owl cluster, for you to look at high up in the northeastern sky. Beautiful, easy to find, the constellation, and a great observing challenge for binoculars out there. All right, now we're going to move over to Friday. So those of you that like to go out early birds, here's something for you in the morning. So check this out. So we're going to go to Friday, and we're going to set this to sunrise. So here we are, we're at sunrise, and I'm going to go just a little bit before sunrise. I'm going to go because it's a little too dark. So let's say about 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes after sunrise. Friday morning, December 4th. We're December 4th. Here we are, okay? So about a half hour before, 45 minutes before your local sunrise, look towards the east, and you'll see a brilliant Venus. And Venus, if you look with your eye, and here's another observing chance, this is going to be so fun, guys, is there happens to be next to Venus, Venus is embedded in the constellation Libra, the scales, okay? And next to Libra, I should say within Libra is Venus. It's the brightest star-like object low in the southeastern skies before the sun rises, when you want to watch it, about a half hour to an hour before your local sunrise. That's when I want you to go out. Look for Venus. And beside this super bright star is going to be a binary star system. Now, those of you that have been with me for long enough, you know that in the Big Dipper, there's a very famous one called Mizar Alcor. We'll visit them again later in the springtime. But this is sort of like the cousin of that binary. And it's a great challenge to see how good your eyesight is. Some people can see these two stars that I'm going to show you next to Venus with the naked eye. They can separate it with just the eye. Some others need to have binoculars because they just seem too close. But with binoculars, it's a cinch. It's easy to separate. Okay, so we're going to go over to see this. Now, I've got it here for you. So again, Friday morning, about an hour to half hour before your local sunrise, you'll be looking low in the southeast. Look for that bright star, Venus. And beside it, this is the binocular view, so you can see easily both of them sit inside binocular. Venus will be very close, making this closest approach to one of the second brightest, I should say the second brightest star in the constellation Libra. It's got a funny name. It's called Zubanel Janubi. And Zubanel Janubi, it's a mouthful, Zubanel Bajubi. Say that fast a few times. I don't think I can. And that is actually a pair star. So if we look at it like this, it looks like one single star, doesn't it? Next to Venus, a faint star. You zoom in on it, you'll see even with binoculars, there is a companion star. It's actually a binary star system. And Zubanel Janubi is that double star, that binary star, and it's 75 light years away. 75 light years away. So it's basically an average human lifetime it takes for the light to reach your eye. And this will be a cool thing. It's going to be next to Venus, easy, a cinch to find. Try it out with your naked eye. Can you see this double star? Can you separate these two stars into two with just your eyes? Do you need binoculars to see these two stars? I leave that to you guys. Try that out Friday morning, right? We're talking December 4th, looking towards the southeast. That's a bit of fun there for you guys to try. And then we move on to Saturday, right? December 5th. Here we go. We're going to move over to Saturday, December 5th, into the evening, back into the evening skies. And of course, what I want you to look at is keep an eye on Saturn and Jupiter. Saturn and Jupiter, look at that. They fit perfectly in a pair of binocular view. You can see that circular pair of view. Guys, see that? Have you been watching Saturn and Jupiter? Let me know in the chat room. I'd love to hear from you. Have you seen Saturn and Jupiter? Have you noticed that they're getting closer? Keep an eye on them. We're heading to the most amazing event of the year, celestially speaking. It's what we call the super conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter. It's a super close encounter of these two planets that will happen. They will appear as one bright star. That's how they will appear to the naked eye, low in the southwest after sunset on December 21st. That's the peak night. So check that out this Saturday. I want you to start keeping an eye out for Saturn and Jupiter after your local sunset. You can see they'll be there at dusk. The two of them, they're beautiful and they're getting closer and closer together. And you can watch that convergence of these two star-like objects. Remember, they're two planets. If you got binoculars and telescopes, great views of Jupiter and Saturn. Imagine what they'll be like when they're super close together. You could get them in one field of view in the telescope and see the disks of these two planets. Fascinating stuff. And then finally, we're moving at the end Sunday night into Monday. So we're looking at December 6th. We're going to go into December 6th, Sunday night. Here we are. And we're going to look at what we can see on Sunday night. We'll be able to see what's called the Puppid Velid meteor shower. It isn't a big shower at all. The Puppid Velid meteor shower is best seen for you folks that are in the southern hemisphere. Us in the northern hemisphere can see it. It is in the Puppis constellation. It's a very small meteor shower that will be peaking in the overnight period. You can see where it's showing me where it is. It's underneath. So we're going to move ahead in hours. So this is where they appear to be originating out of the Puppis constellation. I've got this sky set for mid-northern latitudes for places like New York, Washington, places like that, Seattle, London, Rome. It's not going to be great. Maybe 2 to 5 shooting stars per hour at best. But if you do see shooting stars, it could very well be part of this Puppid Velid meteor shower. It's considered a very minor annual meteor shower, and it peaks Sunday night into early Monday morning. And in fact, if we go forward in time, and so for those of you in the southern hemisphere, you'll get a better view because the Puppis constellation will be higher up in your local sky. But what I want you to see is that the moon will be parked in the early morning on Monday, what are we talking about? December 7th, The moon will be parked early morning. Again, early bird getting up. You'll see the moon parked in the constellation Leo the Lion. And next to it, we'll have a bright star next to it called Regulus. That's the heart of Leo the Lion constellation. And so the moon, the waning quarter moon, will be next to Regulus, the brightest star in the constellation Leo the Lion. So that's Monday morning, December 7th. So how about that? We've got the whole skies. We've got everything covered here. It's incredible. There's a lot. I told you there was going to be a lot this week. And I'll have sky charts for all of you in the comment section, in the timeline on my Facebook page. Leave me your comments. Love to read them. I hope you're doing safe. You're staying safe and healthy, enjoying some night skies. We had a jam-packed week. And on top of that, actually, there's something I just got. Let's see. Okay. So hold on. Looks like we might have maybe a chance of northern lights, auroras. Let me see here. All right, let me share my friends at spaceweather.com say that there was a huge solar flare that happened this past weekend on November 29th. There was a giant solar flare. You can see it burst off the sun. And this is leading to possible coronal mass ejections, basically clouds of charged particles heading towards Earth, and could hit our Earth's magnetic field on December 1st and 2nd. So Tuesday and Wednesday, we may have in store auroras, according to this. So you can see here another, this is from the SOHO Observatory, Solar and Heliospheric Observatory. It's a satellite dedicated to looking at the sun. This is a little animation showing it throwing off all these charged particles off the surface. The sun in this case is hidden behind this disk because it's too bright, and you can see it's set for November 29th. That was Sunday, and you can see over a course of less than an hour, it just blew off this huge amount of material off of the surface of the sun. That's what you're seeing here in this looped animation. So my friends at spaceweather.com just found that out, just got a email from them. Fantastic. So check this out. Possible auroras on December 1st and 2nd. So what are you looking for? Look towards the north. Look for green glowing lights, probably closer late at night. Later at night, the darker it is where you are, the better the chances. The higher up in latitude you are, if you're in northern Canada, the Arctic regions, Scandinavian countries, Siberia, those regions, will get to see more of a chance of seeing a geomagnetic storm and auroras associated with northern lights. So that's just the latest. That's like latest news, guys. So throwing that in for you as a special breaking news. Possibility of northern lights. I'll keep you updated on my Facebook, YouTube channel, wherever you're watching. Please make sure you follow. If you like this video, smash that subscribe button and follow, and also share this video so we get more people looking up at the sky. It's so much fun, isn't it? I mean, there's so much to see, and it's great at all ages. So wherever you are around the world, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you spending a few moments of your time out of the day, and I hope you got some good nuggets for stargazing, sky watching, and auroras, and all that stuff that you could use to find some cool things in the sky. So with that, stay safe and healthy, and until the next video, I wish all of you guys clear skies. Bye-bye.